What's up, college football fans? Welcome to another QB Spotlight interview. We got App State quarterback Brady McBride. I'm Stephen Hamner, and today we have a super special guest, one of Brady's former teammates that we'll get into. But it's our first guest that we've had on who's currently not playing or not still pursuing or not involved with football. So it's really cool and unique mindset. But Brady, I want you to introduce and kind of just give Vitt's background before we actually dive into the interview.
Yep. So Vitt, one of my best friends, my former teammate. He's got a great resume in the college football world. He's started 4 different seasons, started a game in 4 different seasons, 2 different head coaches. He's battled adversity and handled it with class and respect. And you ask anyone around, they'll respect Tyler Vitt. So I'm glad to show people and for people to see what kind of person he is and the great relationship we have. So.
Yeah, and you've always spoke so highly of them. Always loved how you always said they are super close, and even y'all competed and battled. So I think that's a really cool, unique perspective and some cool stories that we get into. And then I also like his perspective of like what's it like when you're done playing football, because it's weird and different. We get into that some too at the end, and that's just some raw stuff that comes for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a legit genius. He graduated in 3 years, got his master's all in 4 years. So. And all great grades that I can attest to that. So,
yeah, that's just like all of us in the room, all great grades. So,
I have great grades.
Oh man, well that's great. Well, we're gonna dive into the interview, but before we do, if you're watching this, just consider subscribing, liking. We do quarterback content every week, film breakdowns, interviews. This is just a quarterback hub where we just talk all things quarterback. It's our favorite position, and so we enjoy talking it. So let's go ahead and dive into the interview.
What's going on, guys? I'm here with my former teammate, the pride and joy of MacArthur High School in San Antonio, Tyler Vitt, and I got Steven here with me again. Say what up, Tyler.
I appreciate you having me on, guys. I've been following the past few weeks. Fired up to be on it myself.
Yeah, I'm excited you're here. I've never had a teammate on here, a competitor, a friend, man, a brother, truly. And what do you got going on in Denver nowadays?
Yeah, man. Working in the sports world out here. Kind of came in to start working with the Avalanche and kind of branched out to some professional teams here in Denver. But truly just kind of enjoying the outdoor world. There's so much to do with the mountains and things like that where I have a lot of free time that I didn't have, I guess you could say, about a year ago this time. So just trying to enjoy that and kind of still get active and kind of do those type things.
Yeah, it looks beautiful out there. It's a shame I haven't visited you yet. It's on me, but once I'm done playing, I'll be up there for sure. But one thing I got to ask before we even get started, do you miss it?
Yeah, no, definitely during the season and stuff like that. I tuned in and watched games and watched you play App State and stuff like that. And I was like, man, it's just kind of the game day feel. I definitely miss like that like game day high and things like that. The day to day of it all. I think I like going out to the mountains and stuff like that on the weekends, but the game day and just the boys in San Marcos, you yourself, just kind of spending time on the day to day is definitely what I miss.
Yeah, definitely a little more free time, huh?
Yeah, no doubt about that. There's no workouts and practices and stuff like that where I'm doing my own thing on that type of stuff, and then but work's its own battle too. I think everybody sees us playing football as fun and it sounds so like light and dandy, but it truly is a job itself. But kind of getting into the real work world is kind of funky. And working a straight 9 to 5 has definitely been a challenge as well.
Yeah. Would you say that's harder mentally being a quarterback or just grinding in the work field?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I would say, harder to be a quarterback. I feel like there's a lot more added on to it. With work, like, I mean, you get to go home at the end of the day and you clock out at 5 and you're not necessarily like thinking about work. I think like the mental side of being a quarterback kind of drains into kind of everything surrounding, and you're always kind of thinking about and try to prepare for the next day with work. I'm like, yeah, like what's my schedule look like? Oh, do I have a 9 o'clock meeting? Oh, okay, I actually have to be there at 8:30. Not, oh crap, like I got to drink this much water, eat this much food to weigh in and watch my film or like do my stretches or whatever it may be to get myself ready to go. I could just go show up at work and sit in my chair and figure it out from there. It's not too stressful.
So you're not rocking the gal anymore? Not carrying around the gal?
No, man. I got to force myself to drink water now. It's like almost like I'm sitting in the desk and just grinding. That's a weird life to not be outside as much as I have. That's kind of been a challenge for me, I guess you could say.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of just going back to where it all started for you, like in high school. Can you kind of tell us about your recruiting journey? What led you to Texas State, and just kind of what you want to say about that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I guess throwing it back to all the way, I guess freshman year at MacArthur in San Antonio. I'd be sick if I had a MacArthur grad watching this. So if anybody, shout out there, we'll see. I might have to post it and maybe somebody will stumble on it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I played, joined up into varsity a little bit my freshman year, kind of similar to what you did, Brady. Ended up playing like kickoff return and like receiver, no business. I was like a deer in headlights out there. I had no idea what I was doing. But there's a guy that was in front of me, Josh Young, that played quarterback in front of me my freshman year, and he was 2 years older than me. Baseball guy, like through and through. Has a family kind of history of all that. He's actually playing third base for the Rangers this year. To kind of dive into all that. But yeah, so he decided to play baseball going into my sophomore year. So I kind of took the reins there and had like a really old team and balled out, had some good receivers and kind of blew up the sophomore year and had a lot of people kind of on the radar coming into town. It was fun. I thought I was the coolest guy in the world, and I thought I was going to go play it somewhere huge and things like that. Where I think that everybody thinks that at that age, and you have one good year and you want to be out there. But yeah, so I started playing baseball that sophomore spring and try to have some college coaches coming for spring ball, and I was throwing from the outfield and then trying to go throw a football, and I was like, holy crap, like I'm throwing straight ducks. Like that's not going to give me the scholarship that I'm looking for. So kind of wrapped up baseball and then kind of jumping into junior and senior year. Junior year, we had a whole brand new team. A lot of those seniors left, and it was a struggle. Didn't even make playoffs. Had a decent year myself, but yeah. So kind of all that hype fell off a little bit, and I was like, man, like where's my direction, and kind of where am I going to be? And had a lot of coaches like kind of just say that they kind of turned me down and didn't really think I was the greatest, and kind of year over year kind of thing like that. And I had some people tell me that I wasn't athletic enough or I wasn't tall enough, and kind of the garbage excuses that seem to come out of recruiting and kind of play the game there, which I think a lot of people fall into. It just kind of not the honesty wasn't there with a lot of the coaches, and so kind of going into my senior year, man, I just kind of just put my head down and worked and was like, I'm gonna be where I want to be, and got a couple of Ivy League offers, got like an Air Force offer. Just didn't really feel like those were the greatest fit. I'm obviously glad that I made that decision. I don't think I would have loved being up at Dartmouth or something like that. I don't know. I like to have a little bit of fun outside of the sport. And then the Air Force, I don't know, that's a sign of a whole 8 years of my life away. So I'm glad I didn't make that decision. But as I kind of got into senior year, had a great year, ran for a bunch, kind of proved all those people that I was athletic enough to do that, threw for a good amount. And then Texas State kind of knocked on the door, and I kind of went through that process and went to visits, and they came to games, a couple games senior year. And it just kind of felt like a homey place and a chance where they truly believed in me. It didn't have to be the most spectacular place or the biggest school. I just wanted a chance where like I could go, and they believed that I was going to be a guy. Maybe if it was year one or if it was year two, it didn't matter to me, just that they truly believed that I belonged there. And I kind of responded to that and felt like home.
Yeah. Steven, I know you don't know Tyler just on the level I do, but him saying he was on kickoff his freshman year just totally describes Vitt. I mean, you got quarterbacks nowadays.
Yeah.
Really, most quarterbacks are prima donnas. They're like, kickoff team, you won't really find many quarterbacks on.
Right.
But Vitt, his nickname on the team was Mosh Pit Vitt. And he would stick it up in there, pause, but I'm talking about like on power, quarterback power on the goal line. Just that's his personality. He's going to get the job done. He's hard nosed, and he's not a pretty boy prima donna.
Yeah. No,
Kind
Tyler,
of like me.
I certainly remember you playing. Was 2018 your first year at Texas State? Was that your
Yeah, that
freshman
would
year?
have been the freshman year.
Freshman, or did you redshirt, or you were a freshman?
Yeah, so, I graduated high school 2018, so like that
Okay.
fall of 2018 would have been my freshman year at Texas State.
Okay, and I want to say I want to say I saw you play. I forget who it was, but you got put in maybe midway through the game. Maybe it was like your first real kind of game action. You had a good deep touchdown, and I don't know if y'all won the game, but I think you did some good things. And then I know like the next 4 years, and you kind of correct me if I'm wrong, it was start bench, kind of up and down type deal as far as like playing, which we'll get into in a second. But I do remember. I believe it was the COVID year against UTSA. It was like a 50-48 something wild game, and it was only like 9 or 10 games being played that Saturday because like the Power 5 schools like waited a few weeks or whatever to play, and so
Yep.
like Texas State UTSA was like the prime matchup of the whole weekend, and so for me, I was fired up. I would have watched it regardless. I definitely had the over in that game, so thank you for that, Tyler. But was that one of your, just out of curiosity, was that your best game you think playing wise, like a statistics wise for you, or at least one of the more fun games, even though y'all lost, for the simple fact like the whole nation was kind of tuned in because they were just like wanting some college football?
Yeah, no, definitely. I guess statistically, definitely would probably be up there with one of the best, being that it was such high scoring game back and forth. You get overtime in there to add some extra boost there. But yeah, definitely a fun one, man. It was so back and forth. UTSA was always a special one for me. Is I always kind of felt like a weird like kind of itch towards them. Is like I was literally living 20 minutes from the university, and they never came to a game or came and watched me play or even had any kind of interest there. And I always kind of took that one to heart. So had a really fun game my freshman year. I'm not sure if that was the one that you talked. I kind of jumped in halfway to that game down in San Antonio and had a chance to win it. Lost by 3, and then kind of once I got the chance to in that COVID year to get back at it, I wasn't gonna walk away shorthanded. Did unfortunately in like triple overtime, but that was definitely a fun one for me.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that game. It was a hell of a game. And just to go back to UTSA real quick, so they didn't recruit you at all?
No, I mean, I didn't have many conversations.
Yeah.
I knew the quarterback coach, like his name, and that was about it. I went to a camp to kind of generate some interest, just because it was down the road. But nothing ever came out of it, and never showed any type of interest. And I was right down the road playing ball for 4 years.
That's interesting. My wife went to UTSA a long time ago, and this will show you how old I am. I was in high school. They recruited me, and they didn't really have a selling pitch because they didn't have a team. So it was go practice for 2 years, and then your junior year you can y'all have a schedule and be able to play. So those are my only memories of UTSA. But it wasn't a very good selling pitch to come practice for 2 years, as y'all know, without a game being in sight. So fast forward, 2020 happens, right? 2018, 2019, you're starting, you're kind of up and down as far as like starting, not starting. Is that kind of fair to say? And then Brady, you came in 2020. Is that correct? Is that when you transferred in?
Yeah. So I just left Memphis in 2019. Okay. No,
2019. You had a red shirt, right? This is before
2019. I was ineligible, so I was just bought out on the scout team.
So did y'all click right off the bat, like when Brady transferred in, or what was your thought when Brady transferred in, Tyler? What was your initial take on Brady McBride?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of went through the same thing the year before with a guy that transferred in my sophomore year that I didn't really know. But the cool thing was that I kind of knew Brady from some high school camps and kind of things like that up in Dallas. So it was more of like a familiar face. Obviously, he had the redshirt year that came in, so he was kind of kicking it and just wanted to be buddy outside of ball. And so that made the transition smooth. I don't think even if he came in and had the ability to play, would that have altered our relationship or anything like that. It was fun from the jump. It was always a mutual relationship and things like that. So it was a good transition. I was happy to have him there.
Yeah, Tyler, I'm sure you know this, but Brady speaks so highly of you. And on a lot of the shows we've done, he's spoken about the competition y'all have, but they're all like best friends. And when he had a good game, you were right there helping him, and vice versa. When he had a bad game, you had a bad game. Like y'all were there like to lean on, which is a lot of times like in the media, you don't hear that perspective. You just hear like competition, and the media is always trying to get like something out of someone, right? So I think it's one really cool that you know y'all were able to be so close and compete. But I want to hear from like both of y'all of like of this, like, one, why do you think that is? It probably because y'all raised right and just gets good values in general, and y'all just worked hard. But two, like, just kind of dive into that relationship and maybe share some stories if y'all don't mind about like a few examples of like having like a crappy game, like the fans are pissed off, whatever, you throw 3 picks, but like having your boy there, having Tyler, having Brady there was like a beneficial thing. So y'all knew what each person was going through, whether it was a good game or a bad game. So I definitely want to hear like both y'all's point of view, because I think this is an interesting kind of perspective that I think hopefully some viewers would enjoy kind of some insight too.
Yeah, go ahead, Brady. I'll follow you on that one.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing that made me and Tyler so close and in like a quarterback room, I mean, everyone there wants to play. Like, that's the very obvious thing. Like, we both knew each other were talented. I knew Tyler was going to bring it every single day. I mean, he had me on my heels every single day. I knew if I didn't bring it, like, he was going to bring it and make me look dumb. So from that aspect of like a mutual respect, just in each other's games. And then as the more I got to know Tyler, like, in the relationship we built, just kind of figuring out more about his character and like who he is as a person, and like how he carried himself is second to none. I feel like, I mean, you can ask anyone on the team, and he's probably one of the most respected guys that played at Texas State, not because of what he did on the field, but just like how he carried himself and how he was and treated people. And I mean, that went a long way for me, at least, and I know it did for others. But like, beyond all the football stuff, and we hang out like after, and it's just good vibes, man. I mean, we clicked from the jump. Like, from the jump when I met him at sounds like a Dayton story, but from the jump at I forget what camp it was, but it was one camp we went to together in, I think, junior year, and we kicked it. And like, that's how I first met him, the first time I met him. And then when I came, like in 2020 or 2019, they were walking me through the facility, and like, the cafeteria room and the second floor, Tyler.
Yeah.
And you know how they have the door open, and then there's the meeting room we used to meet in, kind of like, not even a meeting room, but it was like the big with the windows and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I remember seeing them, and we just saw each other and dapped it up, and they were watching film, and I just kind of went and sat right in. But as far as like stories go, I mean, man, I threw 3 picks in, I think, 4 different games, but just like, for me to come back, and on the plane, we sat right next to each other. It was just me and him, nobody in the middle. No matter if you played well, you played bad, like, we were just trying to get home to kick it. Like, we lived in the same apartment complex, so we had a lot of mutual friends together. And no matter if we won or we lost, I mean, if we won, it'd be a party for sure. But if we lost, we still go have fun with each other, and just knowing that relationship won't change based on envious thoughts or any kind of thing like that. So it was solid from the beginning. I never downplay it, never down talk to each other, to anyone. And I mean, it's just a bond that grew stronger as the time went on. So that was my story. Your turn, Vitt.
Yeah, that was heartfelt right there. I like it.
It was. Got a lot.
Yeah, the same thing. I think like the easiest part at the beginning was that, like, I had went through some stuff like freshman year. After that, head coach left, whole new staff. Like, had the guy that they brought in. Like, they wanted him there, and I couldn't. I had to try to prove myself there. And Brady had went through kind of jumping into redshirt at Memphis, and wasn't necessarily in the place that he felt that it was right, and kind of went through some weird coaching issues there. So I think it was just things that where we kind of saw our past, and we were at the same spot and level there, and then kind of just move forward on that sense. And just like you said, if it was a 3-pick win, I mean 3-pick loss, or if it was a 3-touchdown win, like we were always probably at each other's apartments doing something afterwards, picking each other up. I think we could separate the game really well too, where like it didn't matter if it was him playing or if it was me playing. Like, we could go afterwards and just have a good time and just chop it up or whatever it would be. It was never like, man, I can't believe you played today or you played like shit. Like, we would even like, I think there were some times where we were like, damn, like I played terrible, and then like I'd be like, yeah, you had a shit game. Like we would just be honest with each other and be like, and Brady, I think like there was times where like we would sit on the plane like he was mentioning, and we would be like, yo, was that bad? Like, like is that bad as I think it is, or like was it not as bad as the way that you saw it? You know, so that was a cool relationship. But yeah, like you said, just two guys that have kind of had a dream to play where we were at, and we never let the friendship or anything like that get in the way. So we knew that both of us wanted the job, and whoever got it, it didn't really matter.
Yeah. No, Brady, you're right. That's a cool kind of a first date story that you mentioned. So thanks for
sounded romantic or something. When I first saw him through the meeting room,
when I saw him spin that spiral, I really knew, man. But I think just to kind of wrap that part up, I think a lot of what people see on TV, a lot of fans see, like if they see an interception thrown here, interception thrown there, automatically it's the quarterback's fault, right? As opposed to like the quarterback, especially y'all know, okay, that receiver, like that's the receiver's fault for a potential interception. He should have been there. He didn't read the defense right. He ran a go as opposed to a stop, whatever it may be. So it's like Brady or Tally, you may have thrown a 2 or 3 picks, but maybe 1 or 2 of those are like on a receiver or someone else that no one else is going to know about besides y'all two. You're not going to go in the media and be like, yeah, the receiver should have ran this and that. But like, but like between y'all, I think that's also a cool thing that you're able to kind of have, because the media and fans don't see that. Even if you're like a knowledgeable former player, like you don't know what the receiver is supposed to do against that coverage, like unless you're in that meeting room. So I want to kind of transition a little bit, because I think like that's a cool, unique story. But you're the first one we've had on, the first quarterback we've had on who isn't playing anymore. I think that's cool. Really cool story too, because like football is just a season of life. It can last 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, just a season of life. And the great things about seasons are is that they come and go. Good seasons, bad seasons, medium seasons, whatever it may be. So like transition is hard, but transition is good. And just for someone who's probably like 10 years older than both of y'all, when you're all talking about a quarterback being tougher than life, once y'all get into y'all's 30s, y'all families, and like few different businesses going on, you're going to be like, damn, I wish I was back when I was 21 and the crowd was cussing me out because I threw an interception or something like that. But before we kind of dive into what you're doing now, Tyler, and just like the transition in general, because to be honest, for me, when I stopped playing years ago in college, it was really weird. Like, I don't want to compare it to like PTSD, because that's not what I want to say, but it was like it just felt weird. You felt awkward because now you're a normal civilian, if you will, during football season, right? As opposed to like 6 a.m. workouts, getting cussed out, right? So talk about that transition a little bit. And then if you don't mind, before you even get the transition, if you want to touch on, because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Brady shared with me that you had options to continue playing. You had some more eligibility, but for whatever reason you decided to go ahead in the working world. So you can share a little bit what went into that, and then talk about how the transition has been in general.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously with the COVID year, you get that extra one there, and then I didn't have a red shirt, so I guess I could have had potentially 2 to go stick around. I probably wouldn't have used that red shirt. Probably would have just been 1 more. 2 years, I don't know if I would have been able to commit to that, but definitely considered for a sec there to use that COVID year somewhere else, and just enter the portal. Had a kind of a lot of talks with family and things like that, whether just to throw in there and see what would come available or where I would land, and kind of make that decision from there. And then I also had a kind of a family connection. My brother's quarterback, who also played at MacArthur, whenever he was in high school, is now the head coach at UIW in San Antonio, Clinton Killow. So really good, like family man, good guy. Like I've known him since I was probably 10, something like that, where he was like, hey man, like we're having a guy that has transferred out of there. Their guy went up to, I think, Washington State, if I'm not right.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not wrong.
He was wrong.
Yeah, yep. He was freak and just never really got exposure, and then had a great year at UIW. So had a bunch of chances, and I think he's up at Wash State now. But they needed a guy to come in, and they wanted somebody to transfer in, and he was like, the opportunity's here if you wanted it. But I guess just hitting on that, I was just kind of burnt out. I didn't necessarily have like the gas in the tank to commit to that type of thing. I kind of grew numb to all the changes and all the ebbs and flows of it all, where I was just kind of looking forward to a change. And I think that was what I needed mentally in a way where I don't think I necessarily realized. I think that you were kind of hitting on that, Stephen, is the kind of PTSD. I don't think this is something that I really like digested until like coming up here and kind of getting a new perspective. But I think I was just kind of numb, and there was so much up and down where I was just kind of looking for something that I could kind of set my sights on that I wasn't used to and wasn't kind of going through the motions with. I think 4 years of football day to day to day, you can fall into the trap of the kind of mental ease and kind of flow state. I don't know if Brady, if you kind of agree with that there, but it's just a fresh start and kind of change was something that I desired, and what was holding me back and keeping me around the game of football was truly my friends and the people that I was around, and I knew that wasn't going to change. So I knew like what was best for me was to kind of do something different and go seek out something that I've always wanted to, and that was coming to Colorado. I guess that kind of answered the question. The transition, it was weird when I was finished up in November of last year, 2 years ago now, I guess, where I had finished ball and I knew I had not really sure what was going on, and that was kind of a weird stage where I was just in San Marcos and not really sure what it looked like until I made my decision to kind of seek out some jobs. But that was kind of a weird point where I was just kind of confused and kind of freelancing there. But I don't, like I said, I don't think I really digested how I truly felt until kind of just recently, and what kind of turned me off of the game and what I needed, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I'll say for whatever it's worth, Tyler, because it took me like a few years to kind of get through that. Because I was like, not to get too into it, it was kind of like a bitter whatever ending, and I was like, okay, I don't really care about football much anymore. But like after you kind of like mature and grow and all, and process stuff, like the love and enjoyment kind of comes back, if that makes sense. Even though you're not playing, you know what I mean? It's like, it never gets easier as far as like, man, I really miss it. But it's like, no, you only really miss the really, really good times and like the friends and the fellowship. Like you said, you're always going to have that. You know what I mean? Like you went through all the stuff that gave you the scars. You don't have to go through that again, because what all this stuff that gave you these scars, they gave you friends like Brady, and they gave you people that for the rest of your life. And so, but yeah, there'll always be like a missing thing at some point. I mean, down the road, even like 10 years later, is always like a missing, like, man, a bunch of what ifs. But I think it's like a natural, just human kind of element to it, and not to get wrapped up to it. But it's it's great. So talk to us a little bit about what you're doing now. Like you're in sports now. Like tell us a little bit what's going on. You don't have to you don't have to give us the secrets of the business or anything, but just kind of what you got going on.
Nah, I'm pretty low on the total pole anyways. I don't know if I have the secrets to the business just yet, but yeah, so I took a job on the sales side with the Avalanche back in June. I started so doing sports sales, whether that's like some packages for the season, like 10 game to half season to full season, where they're just getting a lot of benefits and kind of a membership type of thing to go to all games, or whatever their kind of schedule fits in and budget. Obviously, there's different tiers of that kind of stuff. And then also like on the business side, where I reach out to businesses and kind of do some corporate hospitality type things, where they do a lot of events or networking, and they utilize our product just to use that like face-to-face time, or like reward employees and things like that. So we do all kinds of spaces where they can get down on the bench prior to games and do like buffets and drinks at the arenas and things like that. So I came in for the Avalanche, kind of a perfect time. They ended up winning the Stanley Cup about 2 weeks on the job. And like the job basically stopped for like a week, and we were a part of the shenanigans. We were like at the parade, like front and center. We had some happy hours in there and things like that, where I had no business, and everybody was telling me congrats, and I was like, yo, I just got here, like I'm along for the ride. But got to be in the building for some of the Stanley Cup games and stuff like that, which was fun, and I didn't really have too much of a role at that time. But then they sold out for this coming year, which they're playing right now in August. And so kind of branched out into my other teams. So did the same kind of thing for the Rapids, which is the MLS team out here in Denver. And then did the same thing with the Nuggets, obviously the NBA there. And then they have a professional like indoor box lacrosse team that plays basically on the same rink as the Avalanche do. And they just lay turf over that and use the same goals. It's just simple rules as lacrosse. It's just a little bit more physical. So if you would marry outdoor lacrosse and hockey is kind of what you're looking at there. And then you kind of add in like a rock concert into that. It's like like I don't know where these people come out. They come out of the boonies for those games here in Denver, but it seems to be a good product. So yeah, doing that kind of across 4 teams, and that's kind of the gist of what the job looks like right now.
Yeah. So was that an invitation for me and Brady to come get floor tickets to watch the Avalanche?
Yeah, the Avalanche is a little bit tough, like getting sold out. But you guys want to see the Nuggets? They're at top of the Western Division. I could throw some tickets there if you guys come out.
Sheesh.
Nice.
Don't tempt me. No, it doesn't surprise me, honestly. Just knowing you and how smart you were. I mean, you got your degree in 3 years and your master's top it off in 4 years. So I knew you'd be successful in whatever you did. And it's awesome to see that. But my question is, obviously not having the competitive aspect of sports anymore, is there something you kind of channel that competitive nature into now, whether it's like intramurals or yoga with Addie or
no, definitely.
Golf still. I hear you're not playing golf anymore, so that breaks my heart. So
golf is expensive out this way. Don't necessarily have the funds for that just yet, so working my way up to golf here in Colorado. But yeah, I guess the competitive sense, the cool part of sales is like you kind of control your own there, and you can like make your own business kind of thing. So the more that you sell, the more that you make on the commission structure there. So that's a competitive sense of work. So you end up finding like when you're on your hot streaks, it's hard to leave the office because you're kind of just making money for yourself, and that's been fun there.
Yeah.
But outside of that, the fun part has been like kind of building my own workouts. I was tired of throwing 205 on my back or 225 on my chest, so I haven't really done that much. But I've done like kettlebells. And,
I've seen the kettlebell, yeah.
Yoga. We've done like some Pilates. I've branched out with girlfriend Addie that you're talking about there.
So I was right. That was a straight up guess.
Yeah, you were spot on. And then I guess like more like true competitiveness. I picked up like pickleball. My dad's been playing that a bunch. And it's real big out here. Everybody's like super outdoorsies, but there's a spot here, like kind of a couple blocks from my apartment, that you basically rotate in like 4 courts. And there's just some like locals that just let it ride. Like they've got like the pin tennis like gear, and like they played tennis all their life. And I get out there, like they're like, "What paddle sport did you play?" And I'm like, "None." And I'm like, it's fun because like I guess like the best way I can explain it is like playing football your whole life is like we've always been like one of the best. So kind of start at the floor and just kind of getting wiped clean by some of these like older like gentlemen that shouldn't be beating me. Like it's like the frustration that I need to like kind of push myself there.
Yeah, pickleball's blown up. I don't think I'll take it up, but good for you, Tyler. Congratulations. I'm glad you got something to keep it going with that. I do. So I do want to get your thoughts before Brady gives you some flowers on the way out and ends the official date. I do want to. We always ask our guys to give advice to younger quarterbacks coming through high school, but with you, I want to do a little bit different. I want you to give some advice. Just I know it's off the top of your head, but just give some advice to quarterbacks who are in your position a year or two ago who are playing and they know they're not going to pursue the next level. They know they're about to be done. They know that they want to go out in the work field. What kind of advice would you give them just overall? It can be a business, a finance, or like a mindset advice, just your advice in general, being away from the game for over a year now. What advice would you give to someone who's in your shoes a year or two ago?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess just kind of keep the relationships with everything. I don't know what, I guess Brady kind of talked about that. I just truly valued like just being the best person that I could be around to anybody, and you never know when that's going to come around and to help you or hurt you. So I guess just quarterbacks that are looking to kind of wrap up their careers, just enjoy that last sense of community and locker room feel, and just make the most of those relationships. And that's with the people in the locker room, the coaches, the admins, and things like that, where you don't really know what's going to come back, and that's just like a good networking thing. I guess it's just people hire people, and if you're looking to kind of get into a role within sports, you never know where the connections are there. The AD at our assistant AD at Texas State has called and offered me to come back into being like a sales role at Texas State, and that just shows like if you just be yourself and be a good person around the people that you should be at your university or at your high school, you never know who's going to help you get to a spot later on. And I think that applies to like this crazy world of I guess not recruiting, but like the transfer portal. You never know where like the coaches are going to end up. You never know where like you think that the player personnel guy doesn't have a say, but like if he truly made a connection with you and he likes you and you still keep up with him or something like that, you never know whose ear he's going to be in. And I think that's really valuable in today's world of college football, where coaches are moving around, players are moving around, and you never know who's going to put you in the right place, whether that's to play your senior year or your fifth year, or that's to put you in a job afterwards. I think that's kind of the best advice I could give.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Nice way to wrap in the transfer portal, football, business. Yeah. That's well done.
A little bit of everything. That's awesome, man. Well, Brady, give Tyler Vitt here a proper send off, man. Give him a proper goodbye.
I appreciate you, Tyler. I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate the person you've been for me and all our other friends. I wish nothing but the best for you. It was an honor playing with you and just seeing the character you have. And I love you, bro, and I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me on and valuing what I have to say. I guess that's pretty cool. I don't think about it anymore now that I'm outside the game, but I appreciate that. And Brady, I got to get out to App State and come fish on the creek with you and kick it at the cabin.
Come on.
All right, Tyler, we appreciate it, man. Everyone watching, like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, that YouTube jargon. We'll see you next time.